Part two. Good morning, you guys. We are seriously so excited. Say hello when you hop on. I am trying to drop that in the chat. And I've got my phone pulled up over here to the side. So if you guys do have questions that come up about Reach Retreat, that come up that you want to ask Suzann about her business, you want to ask specifically, anything that's been on your heart, like you've been watching behind the scenes on what is this Reach Retreat and why is everybody going to it and how do I fit in here? And so we just wanted to come on and just have a conversation. So we're going to be on for probably about 20 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about Suzann and her business. We're going to be talking about like how she felt coming into Reach Retreat, what she would recommend for other women who are considering being in this space. And, I can tell you all day long, like, oh, Reach Retreat is amazing. And you just have to be in this space to experience it. But I think it's really important that you hear from actual women who are not only coming their first time, right, and not really knowing a lot of people or feeling nervous, but are now coming back for their second time, their third time. Like we even have 5-time returning Reach Retreaters. And so I asked a couple of the women if they'd be willing to come in and share who they are, what they do, and why they love Reach Retreat. And so Suzann said she would. So Suzann, why don't you tell them all about your greatness, what you do, who you are, and we'll start there.
Hi, everybody. I'm Suzann Wade, and I own Wade Innovation. I am a 23-year survivor of brain cancer, so I'm going gray for May. So I have on my gray earrings today. And that's a big part of my life. And when I came to can I just go ahead and just jump into the Reach Retreat excitement, because that's why we're here. And I
want you to tell them about like what you do and how you
So Wade Innovation is a company that helps to teach people creative problem solving. A lot of times we get caught overthinking or we get stuck on things, and it's because we never really learned as kids or adults how to intentionally think through a problem. So I use an assessment that's called the Foresight Assessment, and it measures where your energy is in the creative problem solving process. If energetically you connect with the clarifying part more, the ideating part more, the developing, or the implementing. And that's important because that's how you tend to approach every problem at the beginning. And a lot of times when we overthink, we get stuck in that place. It's because we're stuck in that place and we're not stopping and thinking through the problem. I love it because it's research tested. I'm kind of a brain geek. I love things that I know are going to work. There are lots of places that it gets used. It gets used with all our special forces. They're trained in it so that when things go wrong in the field, they can drop into it and they can intentionally think the problem. And once you learn to do that, then really you can overcome any challenge that's in front of you. And I believe that we as women especially need to be empowered to know we can think our way through the situations and to have the confidence that we know exactly how to do it. So that's why I do what I do and what my company is.
Guys, her story has so much depth that is like just scratching the surface. So one of the things that I love the most about Reach Retreat is the community of these just like amazing women from all different backgrounds, different ages, different stages in their lives that can come together and really support each other. And what I think is really personally for me when designing Reach Retreat was that it wasn't just for the creative entrepreneur. It wasn't just for the photographer or the wedding planner. It was about women who are wanting to come together and create a life of intention that is as unique as they are. But the beauty that I have seen is how they get to bring their other areas of expertise in to help one another like achieve their next level in their business, their next level in their life, because we all have our own strengths. We're not all identical, right? In the career that we're in, like we are coming with all this different background and education, and it just becomes a force. And so that's what I've really been able to see. So Suzann, why don't you talk about, you're going to be going into your third retreat. So you are a Reach Retreater for life.
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah, so I love it. So why don't you talk about like what your first experience was with like, I know I need to be in this room. So your first retreat was Savannah, Georgia.
Yes. And my first experience is I had been like fascinated by Reach Retreat for a little while, kind of had fangirled on Danielle a little bit. I had met her a couple of times at women's leadership conferences. And I was a minister for 26 years. My story of being a minister, like a lot of female ministers, isn't as idyllic as you would think it would be. And in fact, I had been really put down because of my brain injury. I had been sort of told that I was lucky to have a job and made to think that that was, that I wasn't, that I was appreciated for the work I did, but I wasn't really looked at as, wow, you bring you to the table and we love that. So that was had been hard. With my personality, I had kept it going. And actually teaching creative problem solving was part of what had gotten me through. I was a writer in addition to being a minister, and I had taught creative problem solving on the side for probably 8 years during my ministry time. So when I was coming out, I knew that I wanted to I was fired from the ministry. I was downsized, but I knew I wanted to start my own company. So like a lot of people, I went through all the stuff. I got things going on my own and had it set up and was starting to bring in clients. And then COVID hit. And in addition to COVID, we had a house fire. My dad passed away. So a lot happened to us in 2020. So in 2022, when I was like, okay, the world's opening again. I know I really want to do this. How am I going to do this? I looked at Danielle and I was like, okay, I need this. I know I need this because I want to get my head right. I'd gotten my money right. And I'd done a lot of inner work, with therapy and everything. But it was like, I need to get my head right. I need to get my confidence right. So I went into Savannah and I was kind of nervous because I knew Danielle, but I really didn't know anybody else. And I make friends pretty easily. I can walk right up to anybody and talk to them. So I was not really worried about that part, but I still had a lot of this just stuff that had been put on me that I think gets put on a lot of us women in terms of not being seen for what our strengths are. And in the course of those, is it just 4 days? 5 days. Yeah. In the course of those 5 days, what those women made me realize is that I was a force in this world. There was so much positivity that was poured into me. And they looked at me and they said, your brain injury is an asset. That is an asset that you have. It's not a hindrance. Lean into that. Yes, you have a disability that makes life hard. And yes, it's an invisible one that people won't always recognize, but lean into it hard because that gives you a unique perspective and you are so real and open with it. I'd always been open about it. I've always gone gray in May. I tell people my story in large part because if there's ever anybody that's going through it, I want people to know, oh, Suzann, you should call Suzann. So that they have somebody that can help them in that process. So that first Reach Retreat, I walked out of it going, wow, I could have a business that really is focused on the brain, and people will look at me and go, your brain injury and the way you talk about that is an asset. And we want to work with that. And it helped get my head right. And then I also walked
like a confidence booster and an affirming of okay, I'm on the right path. My story matters.
Yeah.
I'm ready to kind of spread my wings.
And it was so affirming too, because I have some physical realities. I have bad brain days and I am a beach person. I love going to the beach. So there was one day that everybody was going to the beach and it was just a bad brain day for me. And so I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it. And there was none of that, oh, come on, come go with us. You can do it. Come on, come go with us. Like sometimes happens. Everybody respected that reality. And I wound up having the entire day in this amazing Airbnb because Danielle gets the greatest accommodations that there are. It's when she says it's a luxury retreat, it is a luxury retreat. And so I was able to have this entire day just sort of going, hey, it is okay that I have bad brain days. And people will understand that. And the people that I want to be around will get that. And I don't have to be around the people that don't want to be around me or that I don't want to be around. And that's okay in life. When you're a minister, you kind of have to be around everybody. It's not a choice who walks into your office on any given day. So it was kind of nice to really get that affirmation out of it.
Well, good. Okay. So before we even left, I always announce like to our immediate group where we're headed to next. And so I was kind of pressured to do it a day early because everyone was like super anxious. So I was like, all right, let's just rock and roll. And so I share it, and literally Suzann was like, all right, I'm going. This is the accommodation I want. Sign me up. So like before we even left Savannah, she was already committed. And the exact same thing happened when we were in Costa Rica. She was like, nope, I'm going to Sedona. It's happening. Sign me up. So yeah, so it's just been really neat to see. And with every retreat, our promise is that it evolves with you. And so you don't have to feel like every retreat is the same. I think that's why we have an 80% return rate. Like people keep coming back because I get to know you. I get to know you and your business and where you're at in your life and what the next steps are. So that way our keynotes, our presentations, our breakouts, the menu, the accommodations, our excursions, like everything is so thought through to make sure that it's making you feel welcome and loved. And that's always my goal every single time. So for a woman that like is kind of like, who do you think this retreat's for? Like if you were to say like, that, hey girl, listen, like you need to be here because like, who do you feel like would really benefit from a Reach retreat?
That's hard for me to say because my experience with it is I can't think of a woman in business that wouldn't benefit from it. That is really my perspective on it. I talk about it to everybody, especially I think women who are, if you're wanting to sort of take yourself and your life and your business to that next level, then I think it's for you. I think the one of the misnomers that maybe I had about it is that I needed to have things figured out before I came, that I needed to kind of have my act together before I came. And you don't. You really don't. If you're at that place where you're like, I'm not sure what my next step is, but I know I need one, it's the retreat for you. If you're at that place where you're like, I've got this, I have been doing this for a while, things are rocking and rolling, but I want to see what the next level brings, it's for you. If you're at that place where you're just like, I knew what I was doing for a while, and my kids are getting older, and I'm not sure what the next chapter is going to look like, it's for you. If you're at that place where you're a young mom and you're trying to figure out, how do I manage everything that's going on and this business, it's for you. In fact, it's probably especially for you, because if you have young kids, being able to come and have 5 days where you're just spoiled, you don't have to plan dinner, you don't have to plan what you're going to do, you don't have to put anybody in the car, all of these things. You only have to get yourself dressed. And in fact, Danielle tells you what to wear most days. She'll be like, today we're wearing this color. So you pack that color and you bring it with you. So it's, I really think at any stage in your life, it's for you. And the beautiful thing is the women that come to it, we celebrate each other. We are so excited to see each other. And we see in each other what is beautiful. And Danielle encourages that. Danielle makes sure that the women that come into that space are women who are there to empower other women.
100%. Yes. Like I set what's called agreements, because as women, it can be intimidating to walk into a room full of women, and some women knowing each other, right? We always have that blend of the new and the past, which makes it beautiful, because I really see the women that are reoccurring Reach Retreaters step up as leaders, because they remember what it felt like, right? They remember to feel like to walk into that room and not know everyone. And so my agreement is like, you come in as a stranger, but you leave as family. And that is the promise with Reach Retreat, is you will leave with really beautiful relationships, and so maybe that could be a next question that I ask you, like, what type of relationships have you built through Reach Retreat?
I have built really transformative relationships. I have good friends that have come out of it. One of the relationships, though, that has transformed me the most is actually the relationship with your co-facilitator, Delaney.
Mhm.
Delaney, I've had a hard time physically, a big hard time physically, just as somebody who's a brain injury survivor, because your brain pretty much affects everything. And so there was a lot of yoga that was being done, and a lot of the yoga was at times that just didn't work for my brain. So at one point I asked Delaney, she had talked about something that's called yin yoga, or rest and restorative yoga. And so I asked her about it, and I don't know where everybody else was. Everybody else was out doing something, but it was a moment where it was just like Delaney and I in the house and somebody else. And I said, would you mind like showing me what that is? So she just like, this was not planned. It wasn't part of the schedule at all. And she said, sure. And so we just went, and, she did about a 20-minute session with me and introduced me to restorative yoga. And her meditations, she did 30 days of meditations that led into that first retreat.
Mhm.
And when you hear her voice in a meditation, you guys think you have heard call me meditations before. Her voice and meditations are perfect. And so between the meditations and that yoga, as when we left, I asked her if she would do meditations for me, if she would do 12 weeks of meditations for me, because I really just wanted to make sure that I didn't walk away and go, oh, that was great, but
Yeah.
continued it on. And so she did that. And because of that relationship, the conversations that came out of that, I now do yoga 3 times a week. I do both. All of it is either gentle yoga or restorative yoga. But, and I know that she is someone that I could call about the hardest things in my life,
Mhm.
and she would be there, to listen and just, and there are other women that would be there too, but that she helped transform my mind and my body.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, my balance is improved, and it's all because she made it so approachable. And that's what all of these women do. They make what they're doing approachable. Um, so, Mama Shone, that is one of the original Reach
Yeah,
Retreaters.
she's a
She and I,
five times
yeah,
turning.
yeah, she is amazing. She has like care package boxes that she does. I've gotten one. I think she may have 3 left. So if you guys haven't
You.
snagged one, 2. If you guys haven't snagged one, you better go snag one right now.
Okay, so can we just pause for a second, because that right there is the exact reason. Do you hear how Suzann is sharing about Delaney? She's sharing about Dana. She's sharing about Reach Retreat like it's her own. She is in my mastermind. We're working together. We've worked together for almost, I don't know, half a year. Like, whenever you leave this space, you are supported beyond. And that is the thing, is I always say, you get out of Reach Retreat what you put into it. And we don't leave Reach Retreat and the relationships are done. The conversations are done. It's literally just beginning. So like, since we've been back from multiple retreats, right? We have a WhatsApp that's running and we're chatting with each other and we're talking about life and we're talking about what we're struggling with when we're having good days, when we're dealing with loss, when we're dealing with celebrations and women clapping for each other. Like, this is a community that doesn't just stop when you leave Reach Retreat. Like, we do life together, we do business together. And once a Reach Retreater, what?
Always a Reach Retreater.
That's right. So we just,
and even if you only come to, I mean, you're going to come back. But even if you're somebody that only can come to like one, and because it is an investment, but I mean, it's worth the investment, I will say. And the way you do the payment plans, it makes it where you can't afford it.
Right.
If you just think about, can I afford that much each week? Break it down in that way for your mindset. And now that we're closer to Sedona, I mean, it'll be a little more each week just because the weeks are shorter.
I think it's like 180 a week between now and the end of October. So,
but it's worth the investment.
Yeah. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
And what I was going to say is, like, dropping into that WhatsApp group. I mean, wow. We've like, I had a day where there was something going on with my son, and it was just like, hey, can you like just have this on your mind today, because I'm really nervous. And everybody was like, we got you. And recipes, I mean, and I don't want to make it sound like, oh yeah, and then there's recipes, but also
but reality is, like, when you think of a retreat, it's so easy for women to say, I'm going to go invest in just my business. Like, I can justify just investing in my business. And we talk about business, guys. We get deep into our businesses. Like, that is an essential part of the retreat. But the healing side, the having Delaney be a part all 5 years, she is our girl. Like, having her be a part of that, having Diana again too, coming in and pouring into women and talking about their empowered identity and self-care. Like, when we talk about Reach Retreat, we talk about it in a holistic way. Because if you're only focusing on the business side, the life side is likely struggling, and then the vice versa, right? Like, we have seasons where one is a little more push and pull, but the reality is I want to teach women that a life of intention is about creating a business that serves your life and not the other way around, and that you can have success, that you can be an intentional mom, you can be an intentional wife, you can be a great friend, you can be all of these things. And really, also, the moments when you feel defeated and you feel like things are not working for you and that you're meeting resistance, that you have a community of women that say, I have my arms wrapped around you and it's going to be okay. And we need that. And, we have women from 30s to the middle of their 60s. Like, this is a wide range of women that are coming together, and it's powerful because I have teenagers, but then I have women in the retreat who have toddlers, and then we have women who have adult children, and we get to say, like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And they're like, hey, mama, it's going to get better. This is what I do. This is how I bonded with my teenagers. This is how, so we do life here and we do business here, and it's not one or the other. And there's nothing off limits. We hold space for each other, respect each other. But yes, I create the space for you to not cook, to not clean, to not worry about when you're getting to where you're going, to not worry about what's next. Like, I just take the guesswork out so that you can be fully immersed. And when we say 5 days, you can think that sounds short. Guys, 5 days can completely change the way that you do life and the way that you do business. And so,
both times it's completely changed the way I do business and elevated it.
You are.
So
you are freaking killing it, Suzann. Like, who
who
are you?
I am fully me. Is who I am. I am fully me. And this is, I think, what happens with a lot of us in life, whether it's through what we have to do family wise, whether it's business, trauma, whatever happens. A lot of times we shrink ourselves as women, and we shrink ourselves and we kind of surround ourselves with others' expectations, and we allow that to occur to us. I mean, we allow that to happen. And when you come to Reach Retreat, what happens is the people see the you that's there, and they're like, come on. And so by the time you leave, you're like, hey, I can be fully me, and that can be freaking awesome.
Yes,
women are like, yes, be you. So that is, I think, the thing that I love the most about it.
Well, I know that we're blessed to have your energy and to have your heart and to have your laugh, because, guys, I'm telling you, Suzanne's laugh and her little squeals, like she is just a light. Like you cannot walk into a room and not want to help Suzanne. So I just want to say thank you. And I hope that this spoke to a woman who maybe is feeling like they have a limitation. They're feeling like they're not in the best season of their life. And they feel like that means they disqualify themselves from being in this space with these high energy women. Guys, we all have seasons. Our lives ebb and flow. And if you are in a season, in a low season, like it is open to you. If you are in a thriving season, it is open to you because everyone's going to relate, support, and love you and meet you where you're at. And I just appreciate your time so much. And I think for those of you, like we are only one spot available for Sedona. That's it. So I know that's crazy and exciting, right? So if it has been on your heart, it is application based. The reason I do that is because I want to make sure that you are really, truly ready for this experience and what that means for you, and that all of your questions are answered and that you feel safe. And like, it's just very important to me that it's a perfect combination for you and for the Reach Retreaters. But that's it, guys. If it's on your heart, we'd love to welcome you with open arms, and just don't be too intimidated, but know that once you're a Reach Retreater, you're always a Reach Retreater, and we love you and we want to see you thrive in life and in business. So Suzanne, any final words before we sign off?
No, go fill out that application for Reach Retreat and go buy your Mama Shum box then to reward yourself.
Right. And I want to say, guys, like I know, like for Sedona already, we have a owner of a digital marketing agency. We have a creative problem solver and coach and speaker. We have a licensed counselor. We have another counselor and a speaker that's coming. We have website developers. We have, oh my gosh, I want to go yoga, breathwork, meditation specialists coming. We have CEOs of manufacturing companies. We have HR managers of manufacturing companies. We have a CEO of a behavioral clinic that is a behavioral analyst is the way that we describe that. We have women from all different backgrounds, stages. I don't want to overlook because we have so many different industries, but just knowing that there's going to be someone in that room that relates, but also their background and training and bringing it to your business is going to be really eye-opening. So the theme for Sedona is reflect and expand with intention. So we're going to reflect on 2023, create our expansion for 2024, eat delicious food, be pampered, go and explore Sedona. We have a mountain view if you haven't seen the house, and it's just going to be a hell of a good time. So hope to see you there.